Okay, so what are you saying, people, and welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel. So today, guys, like always, another weekly analysis for you. On the screen, other pairs will be analyzing today, but make sure you do stay to the end of the video because I do have a bonus pair in store. So make sure you do stay to the end to find out which pair that is. But yeah, guys, we'll get into my trade for the week, which was on USD CAD. I did do a full breakdown video on this particular trade, so feel free to go and check out that video. It's on my channel now, so feel free to go check it out if you haven't done it already. But yeah, quiet week for me. The pairs I was looking at didn't quite form for me to get my entries, but USD CAD, luckily enough, to give me a good entry for this one. Got a nice double top entry, nice shift in momentum on the hourly chart, which is where I take my entries on this candle there. Stop loss just above the zone with some wiggle room just in case any fluctuations, and a nice push down into these lows. So just around 3 point, it was like 3.1 something but I did take partial, so it wasn't quite 3%. But yeah, nice trade there, worked out pretty well. Nice entry, again, staying patient, waiting for the market to give me my entries and then take the trade. No need to force it. You know, there's better to not take a trade than take a bad trade. So it was a really nice trade, and hopefully you can get some more trades next week, or I was about to say some better trades, but you know, that was a good enough trade for me. So again, I'll get into more what I think that's going to happen with USD CAD, because obviously it's a pair we'll take a look at a second. But anyway, back to EURUSD. So EURUSD this week, nice big push to the upside, taking out these highs here. Oh, did not mean to do that. Taking out these highs here. So with EURUSD, nothing's really changed for me. I'm still overall bearish on this pair, like I've been saying on my live streams. If you haven't checked out the live streams, make sure you go do that. Like I said, I've still got a bearish bias for EURUSD, mainly because I use structure to give me my bias. This is still for me the main lower high in the market, and this is still the main lower low. So anywhere in this area for me, the market could still form a lower high to continue its leg to the downside. So I'm predominantly still looking for sells for EURUSD. I know that on the daily time frame and the weekly, so to speak, we have taken out this trend line. So for me, this is just a sign that we could be reversing. I don't really look at trend lines as the ultimate guide for direction. I'll look at trend lines for bias and confluence, but I'll never actually look at a breakout and change my bias completely. If structure breaks and we have a breakout, then yeah, fair enough. But in this case, our lower high is still intact, so I'm still looking for sell positions. Doesn't mean buys won't look good. You can definitely look for buys, but for my trading, I'll only be looking for sells. If I do get into buy, I probably wouldn't push it too far, because I'll still be technically counter trend trading, similar to what I did on USD CAD. But yeah, EURUSD for this week. So we have climbed back underneath this level here. So I do expect to see some more downside for EURUSD. This big move here, I'm looking at as potentially a fake out of this high there, maybe catching some trades on the wrong side. I'm looking to see if we can throw some more wicks here to the upside on Monday morning, London session or New York or something like that. Throw some more wicks to the upside. Now I'll be looking for a push to the downside for EURUSD. And as for targets for this one, again, I'm not looking for the home run all the way back down to these lows just yet. You know, these lows here will be definitely taking my I would definitely be noticing and probably looking to take partials or exit the trade depending on the risk reward, of course. But I'll be looking for something like this for EURUSD. It sells around the 0.99, just under parity actually, because there's a whole bunch of nines there. It's around 0.99993, basically parity. We'll be looking for sells back down to these areas. Again, depending on risk reward and the exact entry I get, you know, these are the levels I'll be looking at: 0.98580, 0.98340, and 0.97550. So around these areas here. If you are looking for buys for EURUSD, these are good areas to be looking for buys as well. But likewise, you know, I wouldn't be pushing these trades too far, you know, back up to this resistance here. At best, obviously we might go further, but in terms of, you know, following the higher time frames, you don't really want to be pushing these buys too far. And if you do want to do that, I suggest take most of your profit off, leave a little bit to trickle on if you want to. But yeah, for me, looking at sells, we'll be looking at another test that resistance come Monday or Tuesday, or you know, whatever happens, or I might not even get a trade, we'll see. But I'll be looking for entries around there for a push to the downside after this fake out here. So buys for EURUSD is to the downside, looking for sells, entries around the parity mark, and looking for a test of one of these levels for next week. Okay, so now on to USD JPY. So for this pair this week, we did see the market roll over. I was talking about the market potentially finding some support around here. We did pretty quickly actually. As soon as the market opened up, you can see a bit of a wick to the downside. The JPY pairs were a little bit crazy when they opened up. Nice move to the upside, didn't make it back to highs though, around to 149.500, didn't quite hit 150, rolled over, and it's just kind of just floating in this area of support. So for USD I'm still bullish on the market. Again, we haven't taken out any major structures here. In fact, we are coming to retest this area here. So I'm looking to see if USD will do either one or two things. Either start giving me a higher low in these areas here for move higher, and I'll probably be looking at 150, probably won't be looking at back to highs. We've had a pretty aggressive move to the downside. 150, nice psychological level. Sorry, actually my bad, 149.500. So this level here on the left, 150 potentially as well, but I'll be looking at that structure there on the left, which is 149.500. Or we have one more drive to the downside to give us a test of this structure here around 145, and then we get the bigger move to the upside. But as you can see by the arrows, I am looking for long opportunities here. So with USD we've had one stab, second, could see a third drive here to the downside, retest that key level, which I've been talking about at 145 here, and then from there we might see the bigger move to the upside, and again, same targets, 149.500, or the market might be already be looking to turn. We do have this structure here, if I should move this out the way, we do have this structure here, which the market could be looking to tap into, around 147, which could actually start to give us that bigger move to the upside, so we might not have that third move down. Either which way though, we are looking for buys for USD JPY, and again, not necessarily looking to push the highs. Again, if you want to, feel free. The market is still extremely bullish despite this down move, so I do understand looking for a push back to highs, but again, as a trader, I don't want to necessarily go for the home run. I'm just looking to get a decent amount of pips, good move in the market, and then on to the next trade. And depending on the risk to reward, we can probably get some nice trades back into this high here, where we know sellers will probably be looking to sell the market back down. And we could be seeing a reaction at those levels. So these are the two situations I'm looking at. Buys from around the 147 mark and retest of that structure for the next higher low, or we might come down for one more move into 145. We'll look for some signs of reversal, and again back up to 149.500. So still looking for buys for USD going into next week. Okay, so onto USD CAD. So as you can see, nice downside move this week, which we've already gone over. Back into the prior, swing low of the market, which is this point here. We had the swing high, swing low, swing high. Now the market is back into that prior swing low. So we're trading at a very, very important price here. And especially if you do look at the higher time frames, we've had a pretty impulsive run to the upside, and now we're starting to hold this area here. So I do think if we start to hold this area properly, I do expect to see USD CAD make another move to the upside. Again, the market is still bullish, but there is some clear signs the market is failing at these areas around 1.38500. So wouldn't be expecting, we could break through, but I wouldn't be expecting to trade further in that area. 1.38500 will be where I'll look to take profits, or probably even before then, maybe depending on risk to reward. But yeah, USD CAD trading at a very, very important level for me. So I'm looking at similar to what I said for USD JPY, similar setup. Either we have one more down move and we have a fake out of this zone here. So we might do something like this, snap back inside, and then have the bigger move, because there will be a lot of liquidity underneath here. I know we did see a bit of a wick here, so that might have taken some of the liquidity, but the market might want to have a bigger move. Obviously, as traders, when you react to adapt. Which also leads me on to my second idea, is if we can potentially start forming the higher low in this area here, because we've already broken some structure, and then potentially get the move to the upside for USD CAD. So as you can see, both arrows point to the upside, looking for buys here for USD CAD, sorry. And these are the two setups I'll be looking at. So see, we have the fake out of the level, get back inside, and then buys, or we just have the higher low form early Monday, Tuesday, and then we see that the continuation happens. So that's what I'll be looking at for USD CAD. Nothing too complicated and nothing too crazy, just playing the higher time frames and knowing that we're at area of value, where we could be seeing the higher time frame momentum step back in, which is obviously bullish in this case, and see the buyers take control. So like I said, 1.38500 round here, is where the market is struggling to break through. these moves here potentially can be seen as a bit of fake outs above this zone. You can see we tested this area a number of times, so we know that sellers will be lurking around here. And again, you don't necessarily have to push the trade that far. There's areas here the market probably react to as well, so you might want to take just a day or two to get there, take your profits and run, or you might want to push the trade a little bit further or take partials. There's many ways you can go about managing a trade, and there's many levels actually to target. For me, it'll be depending on risk reward, but as of now, I'll still be looking for a push into 1.385, and then we'll go from there. So those are the setups I'll be looking at for USD CAD. Buys from 1.359 and also 1.35258, little fives, for next week for USD CAD. And now moving on to Euro Pound. So Euro Pound this week bled to the downside, taking out these lows just about before the weekly candle close. So yeah, Euro Pound definitely looking bearish, and we're about to get a monthly candle closure as well. As you can see, it looks like it's going to be a bearish engulfing of that prior kind of big spike candle to the upside. I was looking for us to go fill this wick to the upside this month. However, momentum's changed. As you can see, we are closing bearish, so this could be just a huge rejection here for another continuation back down to the lows of the range, which is this kind of zone here around 0.84. So again, that's a big thing about trading, be able to pivot in different directions, anticipating something to happen. It doesn't happen, look to pivot and change your bias and react to that. And with this key structure here at 0.84, we could be seeing a continuation back down to this area. So for the next month, which will be November, we could be seeing that momentum continue down into these lows, which means a lot more downside for Euro Pound if that's the case, of course. And again, if I'm wrong, I'll react and adapt. But yeah, I'm looking at a push into this area here, since we did have a pretty aggressive breakout for Euro Pound. As you can see, never got the retest of this structure here. So with Euro Pound's nice bearish structure that we got in place, which is that low to the low high to the low to the low high to the new low, we could be seeing the market slowly make its way back down to 0.85. So looking for some type of pullback for Euro Pound. Again, nothing too crazy. We could go in another big run here and form another major lower swing high, like we've done with these highs. But I'm guessing because of the current momentum and the fact that we've just broken through 0.87, we'll probably just have maybe some smaller pullbacks and just have some more continuation back down. So if you do get a retest of these areas, we'll probably be lucky to get those tests and just take advantage of the current momentum. So Euro Pound buys for this one is the downside. We'll be looking out for retest of this structure. Maybe at best we might come into these areas up here, but like I said, I doubt it. Momentum is looking pretty bearish here, so we'll be looking to see if we can get a pullback, a retest of around 0.86100, and then continuations back down to 0.85 100, 0.85 we'll call it. So yeah, Euro Pound, pretty clear price action now for this one. Just looking for another pullback, maybe Monday, Tuesday, first half of the week we could see the pullback. Then the later the half, we might see the continuation. There's also a possibility that we could open up bearish and just see us just roll over into these lows. If that's the case, you've kind of missed up the opportunity. But lucky for us, there's multiple opportunities, in the market. So no need to worry if that is the case. But if we can get a pullback into this area, we'll be looking for some shorts and targets back down to 0.85 for next week. Okay, so now on to AUD/USD. So this pair, we saw that continuation to the upside. Obviously with that dollar weakness, we saw AUD/USD and all those other pairs continue higher. I did say some sales will be looking good from around these areas coming into the week. As you can see, we just about did come up to the highs there around 0.65200. We broke through this level here quite easily, but we did start stalling around this area here and did see some downside. So AUD/USD for me, again, hasn't broken the major structure. I'm still, again, wrong button. I'm still looking at this being the main lower high in the market, giving us this drive to the downside for these lows down here. So by my books, the market is still bearish and hasn't broken that structure. Obviously in the 4H, it has given us these higher highs and higher lows. But again, I'm just looking at this being a counter trend move, and we're going to expect the market to continue bearish unless we go and start taking out this structure and continue bullish for a 4H reversal. So that is on the cards as well. But as of right now, I'm looking for a push back down to these lows. And on the monthly chart, I'm still looking at us coming back down into this candlestick low. I have not forgotten about that. I'm still looking at a price coming into this level. I'm just looking at this here being another pullback in the market. You can see on the weekly candle as well, big wick to the upside, momentum is failing. You know, we can see, you know, a bearish week, maybe not next week, but I do think a bearish week can come pretty soon for AUDUSD. So looking at us coming back down to these lows, we can see on that 1H 4-hour chart, sorry, we've broken through this structure here. Market is pushing to the upside, broken through that structure, so we are shifting bearish here. So I'm looking to see if we can continue this momentum. A retest of these areas here, nice lower high, maybe double top into that region there, get some continuations to the downside. Or if we do come back up and retest, you know, this high, we can be looking for, you know, a second test for the continuations lower as well. So similar to what I said with EURUSD, again, not looking to go for the home run with these sell trades, because we do have these high lows you have to be careful of. So, you know, coming back into these areas here, we definitely could be seeing some buyers stepping into the market and trying to push price higher. So we'll be looking at entries around the 0.64 to 30 mark, catch the next lower high. As you can see, you've got the high there, second high, look for the third one. Another push to the downside into these areas, again, depending on risk reward and how things are setting up. I'll pick the level I'm gonna trade to. And if you do see one more push to the upside from this area into that level, again, same again as of there last week. Again, same targets as well. And then we'll probably look for some more entries to take it lower, or I'll leave some positions to run. We'll see what happens as the trade management as the week progresses. But this is what I'll be looking at for next week for AUDUSD. Sell buys, sales from 0.64 400 and 0.65 200, and targets around 0.63 and 0.62 400 there for next week. Okay, so NZD CAD this week continued this counter trend move to the upside here. You can see the higher highs and higher lows, big push to the upside, breaking through this price swing high in the market. Again, this isn't the main swing high in the market I'm looking at. This is to me more 4H, the bigger swing high I'm looking at on the daily. Same with EURUSD and some of the other pairs I've been talking about. NZD CAD, the main swing high is up there as well. So we potentially could be seeing the market give us a counter trend move before we do continue back down south. And I was talking about us potentially coming into this area this week to stall, maybe form the next lower high for the next bearish leg to the downside. You know, that is on the cards. You can see on the daily time frame, we are firing some wicks there to the upside. So we are struggling to break through, but I'm reluctant to sell NZD CAD because on the 4H time frame we have broken through this high there. So I do want to see some structure changes again for NZD CAD. Right now we are consolidating in this consolidation here. I want to see if the market can drop to the downside, give me a lower high, and then I'll start looking for some shorts, maybe on the retest of this structure, something like that. For NZD CAD will look to entice me back into some sells. As of right now, we do have a lot of bullish structure here on the 4H. As you can see with all of these higher lows, you know, these where buyers will be sitting, trying to drive price higher. So, you know, we could still definitely see another continuation to the upside. You know, this counter trend move might not be over. We might still see another bullish leg after that. So I don't want to just start looking to call the top for NZD CAD and looking to play some sells just because of my bias. I want price to start giving me some good structure and some good patterns in my direction before I look to entertain sells. So if you're looking to trade NZD CAD, if we are staying above this area here, you're certainly remaining above this low, the consolidation, which is around 0.78876. If we are staying above that, buys are your best bet, looking to push price higher. If we can break through some structure to the downside and see a nice break of, you know, back underneath this low and start printing a lower high, and then maybe get back underneath this trend line to see something visual, nice break of that counter trend line, then we can start looking for the lower high for the continuations of, you know, this higher time frame bearish trend. As you can see in the market, you know, not looking to overcomplicate things. We know the market's still bearish, so that's the direction I'll still be looking to trade in. But I do need something like this to give me my conditions needed to look for those sells. So I'll be looking from around 0.786, 0.78 for my sells. I'm not really interested in buys, but if you are, you know, if we can hold this support at 0.788, buys still look good, and targets, you know, back to these highs and maybe up to 0.8, big psychological level the market could be attracted towards. As again, there's no real clear target we can aim for there on the left, so might be best off using psychological levels or just take your profit coming into those highs. But yeah, for me, looking for sales for NZD CAD, but I do want to see that break of structure. We'll be looking for sales around the 0.786, 0.788, and targets for me, again, we'll be utilizing these lows here on the left. If I'm feeling brave, I might target the low down there, but we'll see. So that's the plan going into next week for NZD CAD. Right, so pound NZD, we failed to break through these lows here. This is really what I was focusing on for this week for pound NZD, seeing if we have a breakout of these lows, because we did close last week's candle very bearish with this bearish engulfing. I was interested to find out if we're going to break through those lows, because we were trading into this key level here and potentially see a continuation back down to these lows, or respect it, which is exactly what we've done here. We've respected those lows. So for pound NZD, I'm actually looking for a push back up to these highs now with this price action being printed. The market's failing to break through, so I'm expecting to see us swing back up to, where is the tool now? Where have you gone? Okay, there it is. Back to those highs up there. So that's the move I'm looking at for pound NZD. And as for entries for that, there's two areas I'm looking at right now, but things might develop and I might find a third entry. So if you do want to keep up to date with my trading, feel free to check out my Telegram. I do post my setups there, but at the moment, there's two areas I'm looking at, just keeping it really simple. Looking at these highs here and this low here. If the market comes back down for a third test, I'll be looking for my long entries to take it back up. Or simply if you can get a breakout of this resistance, which also translates to this level here as well. If we can get a break of 1.99500-ish, we'll be looking for a retest as well to go long. And again, targets, we've got a nice target on the 4H, 2.025. And if you're feeling brave and trust my bias, 2.045 up there as well as what I'll be looking for. So that's the plan for pound NZD. Now I just need to get some execution and actually trade it. So either one of these levels I'll be looking at, but like I said, if price action changes and levels change, I might look to enter a different level or level that price creates next week. So do tune into the live streams and I'll keep you up to date with that. But as of right now, we'll be looking for a breakout there or another push back down. And yeah, only looking for buys for this one. So pound NZD targets back up at 2.05 all the way up there, or 2.025 as well. But looking for buys in the break and retest of 1.995 or another test of 1.978 for next week. And now I'm going to move on to CAD Yen. So CAD Yen this week, similar price action to USD JPY. Again, I was talking about this area here, finding support. We did pretty early on in the week, bit of a crazy wick to the downside, but we found support there, consolidation, and now we're back testing that area. So with CAD Yen, I'm looking at the daily time frame and we're still holding a pretty key level here for me, which was that price swing high in the market, giving us that high, giving us this low here. New high, potentially new low, because we haven't quite taken out those highs just yet. If I just draw it in, you can see we haven't quite taken out those highs just yet. So that isn't a confirmed high or low. But it is potentially a new high low forming, and now the market is holding on to this structure here with all these wicks to the downside. So for me, we'll be looking at CAD Yen giving us another push to the upside, simply just continue this uptrend that's been going on for quite some time back into the 110 area, which is this resistance, but we did get that stab there on the weekly time frame. So for me, CAD Yen biases is definitely still bullish, definitely as long as we stay above 107,500. Still be looking for some longs, and again looking for another stab to the downside, giving us a higher low and a continuation up. You can see we've made one stab, giving us that high, another higher low, getting a nice third stab, third high low. The market does tend to move in threes, it does like freeze for some reason, and then I'll be looking at another push back up again. It is coming into some consolidation right now, so I'm not really keen on looking at longs, hence another push to the downside, which is what I'm looking for. If it does start flying, then I'll just deem that as a missed opportunity. But if it can react to that level, come down one more time, to around the 107,600, back into that daily level. Next higher low, we'll be looking for some long opportunities and targets back at 110, simply just to continue what the higher time frames are doing. So CAD Yen, I know the market's seen some downside of these bearish moves here, but the market's still holding a key level. Structure's still in place, so I'm still going to be looking for longs, and my target will be 110 up there. So looking for buys around 107,600 for next week, and targets back to highs for CAD Yen. Okay, so now on to Pound USD. So similar price action for Pound USD as to Euro USD, except for this one we haven't actually had the fake out. With Euro USD, we had those highs, we took those highs out and we've come back underneath. With this price action here for pounds, we formed those highs over there, broke through them. Now the market's kind of just consolidating above them. So again, this could still be a bigger fake out, but I do want to see the market get back underneath, show me that it is a fake out, and then I'll look for sales. Very, very similar setup to Euro, but at this point in time, I haven't got that fake out yet. So, I can anticipate it happening, but I do need to wait for price to get underneath. Hence, these sales will look good. If it's not a fake out and the market has truly broken out through this level and it's looking to continue higher, then I will be looking at 1.18, which is this price swing low all the way down here. So again, nice swing low, big push to the upside, broke through. We'll be looking for the retest of that structure, which we haven't quite had yet. So we might actually be looking for another continuation higher. Then up here, we'll start looking for our signs of reversal and then look for sales. So around the 1.18 area, I will keep an eye out for Pound USD. But if we do get underneath, then I'll be looking for sales up around 1.148. So similar setup to Euro, but it hasn't happened yet. And if it does go high, then I'll be looking at 1.18. Again, not looking to push price too far, because we do have this bullish structure here in place, which is, this drive to the upside, giving us the high, low with that pullback and now new higher highs. So we could do something like this and push through. So we do have to, look at the market from both sides and know where to take profit and where to enter. Sellers of the market will be looking to enter around these areas. Buyers will be looking around these areas. So, as a trader, I want to be taking profit, coming into these areas of support, because buyers will be looking to take price higher. Doesn't mean they could do successfully, but just to protect the trade and to protect profits that I do create. I don't want to just have a lot of floating profits. I want to actually make sure I'm banking those profits. So this is what I'll be looking at for Pound USD. Again, predominantly sell bias for this one, because again, still haven't taken out that major structure up there. Still a lot of room for that lower high to form. So we'll be seeing if we can get back underneath this 1.148 level. If not, we'll be looking at 1.18 for the sells. But if we do get those successful sales, 1.127 will be the first target, and we've got these lows here at 1.11 as well will be the next. So looking at some more downside for Pound USD next week. Okay, so over to Pound CAD. So Pound CAD more upside this week. Again, that's what we were expecting. We were holding on to this level of support. I did say to you guys, buys from around this area would be nice. Did gap to the upside, formed a high low around there on Monday, Tuesday. And we saw the continuation to the upside. I did say, I do expect to see a stronger reaction from this level. We did actually blast straight through and actually create some new higher highs. So Pound CAD, again, for me, it is starting to create these higher highs and higher lows, but I am looking at the higher time frame structure and looking at Pound CAD potentially coming to these areas to see that bigger reversal to the downside, unless it breaks back above as well, because we still do have this bearish momentum, but the market is starting to pick up pace. So with Pound CAD, because we just create this higher high, but I would expect us to probably see some downside coming into these areas, might form a double top into this area, and again, some sales will look good. I would wait for the market to print a lower high first. Again, looking to sell right up here is a little bit aggressive for my liking, so I would look to see if the market can push to the downside, create a double top, then give me a lower high somewhere like the hourly time frame, and then look to trade that lower high. But we've had 1, 2, 3, so I do expect the market to take a breather. At the same time, we could be looking to place another higher low as well. So coming to these areas here, could see the market place another higher low to continue higher. So at the same time, could be looking for buys around the 1.55, maybe even into this area here as well. with that resistance there on the left, turn support around 1.56. That could be an area as well. So for me right now, what I see for pound CAD is a move to the downside and potentially a higher low formation. If you look at the structure, we could see another push higher if this thing does want to reverse. So this is what I'll be looking at for pound CAD. Sells to start the week off, coming to these highs. Do want to see a little bit more rejection first before I do get into any sells, but that's what I'll be looking for. 1.56, 1.55. Then from these areas, continue this bullish structure, and most likely will be some nice buys as well. And again, I'll probably push it back to highs at best with this one, because I'm still unsure how far pound CAD can push. But if we just follow the structure, most likely we'll see another continuation back to these highs up there, which is around 1.57. So that's what I'm looking at for pound CAD. Sales to start the week, coming to that third kind of drive there. We'll wait for us to show a little bit more signs of rejection, and then I'll look for some entries. And then if you come into 1.56 and 1.55, I think there'll be some nice buys to take it back up again. So that's the plan going into next week for pound CAD. Right, so onto pound yen now. So pound yen starting to gain some strength to the upside. Looks like we are breaking out this consolidation and starting to print some higher highs and higher lows again on the 4H time frame. So pound yen with this upside here, very strong candle closure here, and again, an important candle closure to note. As you can see, for the past few weeks now, we've been printing a lot of wicks into this area around 166, 167. Now for the first time, we've seen a strong candle closure breaking out of this, and this could be the catalyst for the next wave to the upside. Something like this, maybe something like this happens. Who knows how far pound yen can go. So I'm looking at potentially price pushing into this area here. You can see where we did find some support and resistance around 174. So this is the next kind of area of value I'm looking at for pound yen. We could go further. This is just the next area that price may start to stall at for pound yen. So dragging that across, you can see we're not too far away from that, and of course breaking out that zone there. If we stay above, we'd expect to see the continuation of that momentum into that zone. So pound yen to next week, I know we are creating some new highs there. Typically I don't like getting to the market at these areas, but looking at the weekly and the candle closure we just had, especially the price action in 4H, there's a high chance that we do see more upside for pound yen. So we'll look for some type of correction. We do have a bit of a trend line developing here between that low, that high, that low, potentially some new highs. So if you see a correction coming into this area here, which was the resistance of the range the market was fluctuating in. If you can see a retest of this resistance around 170, nice cycle level as well, and which has nice confluence of the trend line. This would be a great area to be looking for some long opportunities to push price higher. Stop loss below, and again 174. You can look at 172. That would be a nice psychological level as a target, and I have to look for 174 or that weekly zone. It is completely up to you, but this is what I'll be looking for. Just tidying up a little bit. So this is what I'll be looking at for pound yen, some more upside. If you break below that structure, I'm not really looking for sales, so I'll just let price do what it needs to do, and I'll re-evaluate later. But pound yen, yeah, buys are looking like your best bet for this one, 100%. So 170, we'll look for a retest of that structure. If we can get that, there's a chance we could just fly. If that's the case, that'll be a missed trade. But if you can come back down, retest it, continuation to the upside is looking very, very good. So looking for buys around 170 on the dot pretty much, and targets around the 173, 174 mark for next week. Now on to gold. So gold this week, a little bit choppy here, but the market is respecting this kind of zone here at 1665, failing to break through, created the level once, big push, struggled to continue, and rolled over to the downside. So for me, gold is looking like we could be rolling back to lows here. I was talking about this consolidation last week. You can see we stalled there, nice move to the downside, broke above, stalled there, nice move to the downside, coming back, a lot of wicks into that level, nice bearish candle there to the downside. I'm expecting us to see the next leg to the downside for gold. Still trading below that infamous 1700 level here. So I'm still looking at these lows being taken out, and a test of 1600, which is not too far, which is like the next big psychological level for gold. We're rejecting 1700, so naturally we now expect 1600. So gold, for me, a lot of confluence is pointing to the downside. High time frames are looking bearish as well. So yeah, nothing's really changed for gold. Still looking at shorts for this one. We have broken through some nice structure there on the 4H as well. So again, I'm looking at two kind of ideas for this one. Either the market starts fading around here, we look for a lower high around this part, and the market prints some structure around here, we'll look to short, or we have one more stab into this level here. Market comes and tests it, maybe fakes it a little bit or something like that, we'll see, and then we get the continuations lower. But this is clearly the level that the market's failing to break through. At a break of that support, if you come back into this resistance here again, which is from 1658 to 1670, just anywhere in here, we'll be looking for signs of reversal, and again another push to the downside for gold. And targets obviously back down to the lows here, but I'll probably be leaving some left to trickle, because I do feel like 1600 is very high probability now. So I'll be leaving a little bit to trickle to 1600, but I'll probably be taking most of my profit at 1620, ish around that area. So gold for me, bias to the downside, only looking for sells for this one. Nice sign that the market's failing to break through. We'll look for a lower high, maybe Monday, Tuesday, or if we have another push up again, same thing, we'll look for that lower high and a push into 1620, and then 1600 if we can get the breakout. Okay, so now onto Bitcoin. So Bitcoin this week, big push to the upside. You can see we had a lot of rejection, a lot of wicks around here. So there's clear signs that the market was failing to go lower. So I was favoring another push higher, but we did go and break through this daily resistance here, which is actually what I thought the market will hold at and come back down. As you can see, we've broken through, and it looks like the market's trying to stay above it. The retest is a little bit hit and miss. So I want to see the market come back and retest it properly. Show rejections. You can see a bit of a fake out underneath. So if the market does stay above 2400, I do expect to see some more upside for Bitcoin and a push into this area here. You can see all those wicks collected, big kind of fake out move there. So 21600 is my next area of value if we do stay above 2400. And likewise, 21600 could be a nice place to sell. We'll obviously wait for some signs of reversal, and that will be the confirmation that the market is about to roll back over, because Bitcoin, again, higher time frames are still looking bearish, but there is some clear signs of support around here where we could see the buyers take it higher first. So sales still look good at 21600, but as of right now, I will still favor buys just because of the fact that we are trading above this level here. So correction, retest the level around 2400, next phase back up to 21600, and then we'll see what the market can do as for the sellers. So that's what I'll be looking at for Bitcoin for next week. Okay, so now for our bonus pair, we've got USD CHF this week. So this pair, again, I'm looking at another dollar pair, but I'm expecting to see some dollar strength coming back into the market. So USD CHF is looking like a good market to trade based on the opportunities I'm seeing on the daily time frame. It's looking at the levels of the market. So we've obviously got the key high up here, 1.005. And we've got a key level here, which was obviously resistance a couple times and now acting as support. So I'm looking at USD CHF, again, not a crazy swing in the market, as I've shown with some other examples for the bonus pairs, but a nice clean opportunity here for USD CHF. Back to these highs, we may come into this wick here if the market wants to, continue this bullish trend. There's a chance that we could still push into the high of that wick, but nonetheless, as a trader, this is definitely a level that we want to be aware of and looking to manage our trades closely just in case the market does reverse. But we've had a nice reaction from that, and I'm anticipating this being our next higher low in the market. So we've obviously, if I clone that, we've obviously got one over here and another one back down over there. So I'm looking at this potentially being the next high low for a swing to the upside, in fact reacting to that level and obviously getting above this area here. So want to see the market throw some wicks to the downside, give us another high low, another push to the upside. Nothing too crazy. We're looking at around 100 pips to the upside, so still pretty decent move. 100 pips is still a pretty decent move, but in the grand scheme of things, we're just taking a snippet of this trend and then walking away. If you want to push the trade, you do have the wick highs there, so you can look to push it to see if we can make a new higher high. But nonetheless, this 1.05 level, is a level that sellers will be looking to come into the market, and we could see the market come straight back down it again against us. So with USD CHF, buys are looking good. We'll wait for another pullback into 0.99324 and buys back up into that 1.005 level for next week. So that is the end of the video, guys. Hopefully you have found it useful and enjoyed the video as well, and learned something as well, which is what I try to do. Try to make it educative as well and give you my bias at the same time. So if you are really enjoying the content, please be sure to leave a like on the video. It does really help the channel out. Subscribe if you haven't done already. Become a part of the family. Hit the bell so you don't miss out on any uploads or any streams in the future. And comment down below if you want to see a particular bonus pair, or you just want to say hi, or you have any video suggestions. Comment down below. I do read all the comments. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll catch you all next week.